Welcome back to Easy English Talk Podcast.
Imagine you just got a big raise at work. Your first thought is probably, finally, I can be happy now. But then a few months pass, and somehow you feel exactly the same as before. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Easy English Talk Podcast. I'm Ryan, and with me, as always, is Priya. Today, we are discussing the truth about money and happiness.
Hi, everyone. Great to be here. And Ryan, that opening really hit home for me. I think many of us have felt exactly that way.
Right? It's such a common experience. We work so hard to earn more money, we think it will change everything. But does it really?
That's the big question, isn't it? We're told that money can't buy happiness, but at the same time, we need money to live.
Exactly. And that's where the confusion starts. Because money does matter. We can't pretend it doesn't. But there's something more complicated going on here.
I think the problem is that we see money as the solution to everything. If we're stressed, we think more money will fix it. If we're unhappy, we think buying something will help.
And sometimes it does help, for a little while. You buy a new phone, a new car, maybe new clothes. You feel great for a week or two.
But then that feeling fades, doesn't it? The excitement wears off and you're back to normal. It's like the happiness has an expiration date.
Psychologists actually have a name for this. They call it the hedonic treadmill. It means we keep chasing happiness, but we never really catch it.
That's such a perfect name for it. It's like running on a treadmill. You're moving but going nowhere. You get something new, feel happy, then need something else to feel happy again.
Exactly. And that cycle can go on forever. People earn more, spend more, and still feel empty. So the real question is, why does this happen?
I think part of it is that we adapt very quickly. What feels special today becomes normal tomorrow. Our brains are wired to get used to things fast.
That's true, and it's actually a survival mechanism. Our ancestors couldn't stay happy about finding food for too long. They had to keep looking for the next meal.
So we're built to never be fully satisfied. That's kind of sad when you think about it. But it also explains why more money doesn't always equal more happiness.
Right, because after a certain point, money stops making a big difference. Research shows that once your basic needs are met, extra money matters less. You feel less stressed, yes, but not necessarily happier.
And that's where people get confused. They think, if I just had a little more, I'd be fine. But then they get more and they still feel like something's missing.
I've seen this happen with friends. One friend got a huge promotion and a big salary increase. At first, he was thrilled, but 6 months later, he was stressed again.
Because his lifestyle changed, right? He probably started spending more, wanting more, and his problems just changed shape. They didn't disappear.
Exactly. He moved to a bigger apartment, bought a nicer car, but now he was working longer hours and had less free time. The money was there, but the happiness wasn't.
That's the trap, isn't it? More money often means more responsibility, more stress, and suddenly you're not better off than before.
So if money isn't the answer, what is? I mean, we can't just ignore money. We need it. But clearly there's something we're missing.
I think the key is understanding what money can actually do for us. Money is a tool, not a goal. It can buy comfort, security, and freedom, but not happiness directly.
That's a really important distinction. Money buys things that can support happiness, but happiness itself comes from something else.
Exactly. And that's where people go wrong. They think buying the thing will make them happy, but really, it's how you use that thing that matters.
Can you give an example? I think that would make it clearer for everyone, because this idea is pretty deep.
Sure. Let's say you buy a nice camera. If you buy it just to own it, the happiness fades quickly. But if you use it to take photos with friends, create memories, learn a skill, then it adds real value.
So it's not the camera itself, it's the experiences it creates. That makes total sense. Money bought the tool, but you created the happiness.
Exactly. And this applies to almost everything. A vacation isn't just about the hotel or the flights. It's about the time you spend with loved ones, the memories you make.
Right, and that's why experiences tend to make people happier than things, because experiences connect us to others and to ourselves. They're not just about owning something.
And experiences don't lose their value over time. You can't wear out a memory the way you wear out a pair of shoes. That's why people remember trips and events for years.
So one big lesson here is to spend money on experiences, not just stuff. But I think there's more to it than that. What about relationships? Where do they fit in?
Oh, relationships are huge when it comes to happiness. Study after study shows that close relationships matter more than money. People with strong connections are happier even if they earn less.
That makes sense because humans are social creatures. We need connection. We need to feel like we belong. Money can't replace that, no matter how much you have.
And here's the thing. Money can actually hurt relationships if you're not careful. If you're always working to earn more, you have less time for the people you love. You might have money, but you're alone.
I've definitely seen that happen. People sacrifice family time, friendships, even their health for money. And then they wonder why they're not happy.
It's because they've lost sight of what actually matters. Money's supposed to make life better, not replace life. But when it becomes the main focus, everything else suffers.
So how do we avoid that trap? How do we use money in a way that actually supports happiness? Let's get into some real solutions here.
Good idea, because I think people need practical steps. The first thing is to be very clear about what you value, what actually makes you happy, not what you think should make you happy.
That's a great starting point because a lot of us chase things we don't even really want. We want them because society says we should.
Exactly. Maybe you don't actually care about a luxury car. Maybe what you really want is more time with your kids, but you're spending money and time on the car instead.
So step one is to figure out your real priorities. What brings you joy? What makes you feel alive? And then align your spending with those things.
Yes, and this might mean saying no to certain purchases. It might mean living in a smaller house so you can travel more, or working less so you have more free time.
I like that idea of trading money for time because time is actually more valuable than money in many ways. You can always earn more money, but you can't get time back.
That's so true. And yet, we act like time is unlimited. We waste hours on things that don't matter, and then we wonder where our lives went.
So using money to buy back your time is actually really smart. Maybe you hire someone to clean your house. That gives you an extra few hours to spend with family or on a hobby.
Exactly. And studies show that people who do this are happier because they're not exhausted from doing everything themselves. They have energy for the things they actually enjoy.
Another thing I've heard is that giving money away can make you happier. And that sounds counterintuitive, but apparently it works. Have you heard about this?
Yes, and the research on this is really interesting. When you give money to others, whether it's a charity or a friend in need, you feel good. It's called the helper's high.
Why does that happen, though? You'd think losing money would make you feel worse, but it doesn't, at least not when you give it willingly.
I think it's because giving connects you to something bigger than yourself. It makes you feel useful, generous, kind. Those feelings are deeply satisfying in a way that buying stuff isn't.
So it's not really about the money itself, it's about the meaning behind the action. You're helping someone, making a difference.
Exactly. And that sense of purpose is huge for happiness. People who feel like their life has meaning are much happier overall. Money can support that, but only if you use it intentionally.
So let's recap what we've covered so far. Money matters, but only up to a point. After your basic needs are met, more money doesn't automatically mean more happiness.
Right, because happiness comes from experiences, relationships, and purpose. Money can help you access those things, but it can't create them by itself.
And if you're not careful, chasing money can actually take you further from happiness. You might work too much, neglect your health, lose touch with loved ones. So, balance is key.
Absolutely. And that balance looks different for everyone. Some people need more money to feel secure. Others need less stress and more free time.
I think that's an important point. There's no one-size-fits-all answer here. You have to figure out what works for your life.
And that requires self-awareness and honesty. You have to ask yourself tough questions. Am I working this hard because I need to or because I think I should?
That's a tough question, but it's worth asking. Because a lot of people are on autopilot. They're doing what everyone else does without thinking about it.
And that's how you end up unhappy despite having money. You're living someone else's life, not your own. Money can't fix that problem.
So true. And I think social media makes this worse. We see people showing off their wealth online, and we feel like we need to keep up.
Oh, social media is a huge part of this problem. Everyone's posting their best moments, their new purchases. It creates this illusion that everyone else is happier than you.
And then you feel pressure to spend money you might not have just to look successful or happy online. It's exhausting and completely fake.
It is. And it's also a trap, because even if you buy those things, you still won't feel satisfied. You're chasing an image, not real happiness.
So another lesson here is to ignore the noise. Stop comparing yourself to others, especially online. Focus on what makes you genuinely happy.
Yes, and that means being okay with having less sometimes. Maybe your car is older or your apartment is smaller, but if you're happy, does it really matter?
Not at all. And honestly, simplicity can be freeing. When you're not constantly chasing more, you can relax. You can enjoy what you already have.
That's such an underrated feeling. Contentment is not the same as giving up. It's about appreciating the present instead of always wanting the future.
I love that distinction because people think being content means you're lazy or unmotivated, but it's actually the opposite. It's being smart about what you chase.
Exactly. You can still have goals and ambitions, but you're not miserable while working toward them. You're enjoying the journey, not just waiting for the destination.
Okay, so let's talk about something practical. How do you actually start making these changes? Because knowing this stuff is one thing, doing it is another.
That's a great question, and I think it starts small. You don't have to change your whole life overnight. Just start by noticing where your money goes.
Like keeping track of your spending, so you can see what you're actually buying. That makes sense.
Yes, and more importantly, notice how those purchases make you feel. Did that new shirt really make you happy, or did the feeling fade after a day or two?
That's a powerful exercise. Because once you start paying attention, you see the patterns. You realize what's worth it and what's not.
Exactly. And then you can make better choices. Maybe you stop buying things you don't need, and instead you save up for a trip or a meaningful experience.
Or you use that money to spend time with friends. Go out for dinner, see a movie, do something together. Those moments are way more valuable than stuff.
Absolutely. And they create memories that last. You won't remember the random things you bought 5 years ago, but you will remember the fun times you had with people you care about.
Another thing people can do is set boundaries around work. If you're working all the time just to earn more, that's a problem. You need time to actually enjoy your life.
That's so important, and it's something many people struggle with. They feel guilty for not working constantly, but rest and free time are not luxuries, they're necessities.
Right, because if you're always exhausted, what's the point of the money? You can't enjoy anything if you're burned out. So protecting your time and energy is crucial.
And sometimes that means saying no to extra work or overtime, even if it means less money in the short term. Your health and happiness are worth more.
I think a lot of people need to hear that. We're taught that more work equals more success, but that's not always true, especially if it's destroying your well-being.
Exactly. Success should include being happy and healthy, not just having a big bank account. If you're miserable, you're not successful, no matter how much you earn.
So let's talk about gratitude for a second. I've heard that being grateful for what you have can increase happiness. Do you think that's connected to money and happiness too?
Oh, definitely. Gratitude is huge for this topic. When you focus on what you already have, you stop feeling like you need more, and that breaks the cycle of always wanting more money and more stuff.
So it's like training your brain to be satisfied. Instead of always looking at what's missing, you start appreciating what's already there.
Exactly. And gratitude doesn't mean you stop improving your life. It just means you're not miserable while you do it. You can be grateful and ambitious at the same time.
That's a really healthy mindset, because otherwise you're always waiting to be happy. You're always thinking, I'll be happy when I have this or that.
And that day never comes because the goalpost keeps moving. You get what you wanted, but then you want something else. Gratitude stops that endless chase.
So practicing gratitude is another practical step people can take. Maybe write down 3 things you're grateful for every day. It sounds simple, but it works.
It really does, and it shifts your focus. You start noticing the good things in your life, and that makes you feel richer, even if your bank account stays the same.
I love that, feeling richer without needing more money. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Finding happiness that doesn't depend on your income.
Exactly. And that's true freedom. When your happiness isn't tied to money, you're free. You can make choices based on what you want, not just what pays more.
That's such an important point, because when you need a lot of money to be happy, you're trapped. You have to keep working harder, earning more, spending more.
And you never feel like it's enough. But when you realize happiness comes from other things, you're in control. You can live a simpler life and still be deeply happy.
So, to wrap this up, let's go over the main ideas one more time. Money does matter, especially for meeting your basic needs. But beyond that, it's not the key to happiness.
Right. Happiness comes from experiences, relationships, purpose, and gratitude. Money can support those things, but it can't replace them. You have to use money intentionally, not just chase it blindly.
And that means figuring out what you really value, spending on things that align with your values, and avoiding the trap of always wanting more.
Yes, and it also means protecting your time and energy, because those are more valuable than money. If you sacrifice them for money, you'll end up unhappy no matter how much you earn.
So the truth about money and happiness is this. Money can buy comfort, security, and opportunities, but happiness itself comes from how you live, not how much you have.
And that's actually good news, because it means happiness is more accessible than we think. You don't need to be rich to be happy.
You just need to be intentional, grateful, and connected. Those things are free, or at least much cheaper than we imagine, and they're the real foundation of a happy life.
So if you're listening and you feel stuck in the money chase, take a step back. Ask yourself what really matters to you and start making small changes that align with those values.
It won't happen overnight, but over time, you'll notice a shift. You'll feel lighter, more content, more in control. And that's a kind of wealth money can't buy.
Well said, Ryan. I think that's a great place to wrap up. This has been such an important conversation, and I hope it helps people rethink their relationship with money.
Me too, Priya. And thank you to everyone listening. We really appreciate you spending this time with us. If you enjoyed this topic, we have many more discussions waiting for you.
Yes, we cover everything from personal growth to relationships to productivity. So make sure to check out our other episodes. And we'll see you next time on Easy English Talk Podcast.
Take care, everyone. And remember, happiness is closer than you think. You don't need to chase it. You just need to notice it. Thanks for listening, and see you soon.